My dear friends, I've been sharing a series of lectures on putting on Jesus Christ on earth. As St. Paul's, for me, to live is Christ. My dear friends, I consider myself privileged to address you. Maybe among those who listen to me, there are priests, there are sisters, there are brothers, there are lay Christians, there are non-Christians like Hindus, Muslims, Jains, Buddhists, and the followers of other religions. I keep all these people and many more in my mind as I am delivering my reflections. My principal concern is how to bring about the transformation of our life. We need to grow. We need to be transformed. And in this process, we must have a model, an example, a blueprint. Honestly, having done my studies up to PhD in this field, I have not found a model for me better than Jesus Christ. Therefore, the theme of our reflections are to put on Christ, to be Christ on earth. We all want to grow. We don't want to remain dwarfs in life. We want to go physically, in our health, in our knowledge, in our relationship, and in all aspects of our life. Growth is a sign of life. Better the growth, better the life. Better the life, better the growth. And by the grace of God, we realize this aspiration. And not only that we have got aspirations, but this aspiration gets fulfilled in life. For the very fact that we have a longing to grow means that we are called to grow, we can grow. Now, you would agree with me that we have a longing to grow not only in body or in mind or in knowledge or in relationship, but also in our spirit, in our spiritual life, in our moral life, in the transformation of our life. Applying the same argument for the fact that we all of us have a longing, irrespective of our religion, Christian, Hindus, or Buddhists, or people following other religions, for the very fact that we have a longing for spiritual growth means that we can grow. Otherwise, the Almighty God would not give this longing. Otherwise, in our very life, that longing would not be. It is something like, by the very fact that we have hunger means that we can take food. And when we take food, our hunger gets satiated and our thirst gets quenched. We have a longing to grow in spiritual life, in moral life, in our human relationship. And we know that we can grow. The point of arrival, the ultimate point of this growth is Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. For me, the Redeemer, who came into the world according to the plan of the Father, who suffered, died, was risen, and he ascended into heaven. He is the model. For me, I must be To live is Christ. Christ must be the very identity of my life. In these reflections, I take the Holy Bible, especially the New Testament, as the source of inspiration, and a theologian, a great mystic, St. John of the Cross, in all his writings. I have already given introduction to the writings of St. John of the Cross, and I would not like to repeat them again. Having said that, let's have a look at our own life, because we want to grow in our life. But we must know what is our life. We are a complex beings. We are complex beings. We are bodies, we are minds, we are souls, we are spirits. We are a mind-body complex. We have a natural growth, psychological growth, moral growth, spiritual growth, and also supernatural growth. In all these aspects, we must grow. Otherwise, in one or other aspects, we would be like dwarfs. We sometimes happen to see people perhaps with a big head and a big stomach, but not grown. They are like dwarfs. We should not be dwarfs in our moral, in our spiritual, in our supernatural life. And Jesus Christ, for me, is the best example for all people, according to me, and at all times. In him there was no sin. He is according to the image of the Father. Having said that, our life, which consists of body, mind, soul, and spirit, expresses itself through its faculties. I repeat, our life, our being, consisting of body, mind, soul, and spirit, expresses itself through its powers and faculties. Such powers are multiple at different levels. There are in the external field, outermost level, we have body with its senses. We call 5 senses Panchendriya. These are powers. These are faculties. At the interior level, we have imagination, memory, we have intellect and the will. And ultimately, we have the core of the spirit. We must grow in all these aspects of our life. It's possible, though when I speak in this way, it may sound a bit difficult, but only when we grow in this life, in this way, we feel pleasant, we feel fulfilled. In the first place, we must grow in our body. We take food, good diet. We live in good environment and we grow. We feel pleasant. At one time when we were born, perhaps we might have been 1 kilogram of weight. Today may be 60 or 70 or 80. At that time might be 1 foot tall. Now we may be 6 feet tall. We have grown, but we have not seen the growth. We have not followed the growth, but we have grown. Is it enough that we grow only in our body? Our growth is expressed in our powers and faculties. To begin with, the outermost powers, namely 5 senses. We must be transformed in these 5 senses, the faculties and the powers. When I say senses, faculties and powers, I mean the same thing. We must grow. We must be transformed. God has given us these powers to put us in contact with the extra mental world outside us. We have eyes, we have ears, we have sense of smell in nose, we have touch and taste. There are 5 senses. Let's see how they are functioning. We do this or present this analysis to work out in a scientific way our growth. Not merely our growth in our faculties, but our growth in spiritual life. If we don't pay attention to them, the very powers which are meant for our growth become a roadblock, a stumbling block. They prevent our growth. These are the God-given gifts. We must be grateful to God. We must make the optimum use of them in the right way and make use of them that they may become a tool, an instrument of our growth. Let me speak of one faculty and apply the same principle to all other 5 senses. Let's take the sense of sight. With our eyes, we are put in contact with the things outside. If we were born blind, the outside things would not exist for us. We would not know colors. Because of our sense of sight, we come in touch with the reality outside. Thanks be to God. We must show compassion to those who are born blind. We must make the proportionate use of our sense of sight. We must not overuse them or underuse them. We underuse them when we use them in darkness. Overuse them when we expose our sense of sight to floodlight. Now, when I apply my sense of sight, friends, let's follow scientifically. When we apply our sense of sight to an object, we come in contact with that object. And when we come in contact with that object, if that object is pleasant, we feel attraction. If it is unpleasant, we feel repulsion. An example, when I meet with my friend whom I love, I feel attracted. I feel happy. I feel spending time with him. On the contrary, if I happen to see a dead body, I feel repulsion. I don't like to see it. I rather move away from it. So the sense of sight, when it is applied to an object, which object could be persons or things or anything, we are either attracted or we are repulsed. Now, the attraction and repulsion does not prove that it is good or bad. We can be in a condition where our condition makes us repulsive. For example, a person who is very sick may not be that attractive. Or on the contrary, the attraction itself does not mean that it is good. There might be very attractive things, they may not be good. Now, when we apply our sense of sight to an object, if it is attractive, we have delight. We feel happy. If it is repulsive, we feel dislike. We feel unhappy. So then, in applying our senses to an object, we have either delight or dislike. The same thing can be said of other things. For example, food. With the sense of taste, we apply our sense of taste to food. If it is good, we feel attracted. If it is not good, we feel repulsed. Either we feel delight in taking food or dislike in taking food. Now, we are not to take food only because it is delightful or reject it because it is not that tasty. But we must use our sense. we must use our reason. What happens is, when we apply our senses, an example, sense of sight, instead of being guided by reason as to how much I must get involved in it, we rather allow ourselves to be guided by the sense of pleasure, delight, attraction. And then, if it is good, well and good. If it is proportionate, well and good. Sometimes, when we overuse our sense of sight, then the very attraction becomes a compulsive disorder. An example, a person is given to drinking. When he drinks, he has certain pleasure. Second day he drinks more, third day still more, and finally he becomes a drunkard. In the beginning, taking a little drink was not a problem for him. But now he has become a drunkard. He has lost his freedom. He is destroying his family, destroying his life. This is what we see in the society. And the same thing can happen to us. Whether as regards drinking, or as regards food, or as regards seeing, are we not subject to things that are not useful and helpful in our sense of sight, especially in the modern gadgets? Telephone, pets, the computer, we can say pornographic things, and then get stuck there. And what we see becomes an obstacle to us. So then, we must make use of our reason as to how much we must make use of our sense of sight. Now, how do we judge this? It's in view of ultimate goal we have in mind. What I mean to say is, food is good, it gives delight, but food is for health and for growth. If I take any amount of food, at any time, though it may be delightful, food destroys my appetite. Food destroys my health. The same thing can be applied to all other senses. Sense of touch, sense of hearing, sense of taste, sense of smell, and or other senses. We need to have moderation. And this moderation would be in proportion to our goal. We must have a set goal before us, and in order to attain that goal, we must make use of our senses. In this process, we will have to go through a certain degree of discipline. So, as I said, we bring about this discipline in view of our goal. So that I may reach that goal, I make use of the sense of sight or other senses. And if they are obstacle, I decline from indulging in them. When I decline from the delight that is not useful, I am as it were in darkness. So then, in the pursuit of our transformation, we have to imbibe certain degree of darkness from that which is not pleasant, that which is not good. St. John of the Cross uses the term night. The very process of transformation is called by him night. Night because it implies certain privation from what is going to be obstacle. That night could be night of the senses, because in the senses this discipline is introduced. It could be night of the spirit, because this privation is introduced in our intellect, memory, and imagination. We cannot go on thinking or fictioning things in our mind as I like. There has to be a certain degree of privation. This night could be of the senses because we need to use our senses according to the goal. Also our imagination, memory and the intellect. This night could be night of the senses, insofar as this privation introduced in the senses. Night of the spirit, insofar as our thinking also is guided according to the goal. Thirdly, this night could be introduced by us, meaning I, keeping in mind this discipline or this study or this science, introduce a certain discipline. An example, a student who is going to write exam, in view of the exam, deprives himself of many other distractions. So it implies privation. In our life also, in view of the goal, we need to bring about this privation. Also in our thinking, if I say, I eat as much I like, I drink as much as I like, I indulge in whatever is attractive, I cannot achieve the goal. So then, in view of our growth in life, we must make use of our senses only as much as they are needed. Not because they are attractive or repulsive, not because we get delight or dislike, but because they are a means to grow in life. It's only in this way we get transformed in our life, which is the best reality, highest reality we have, namely our life. We must be transformed in it. May the Lord help us. Thank you.